The Gospel of Mark, chapter 8. In those days, the crowds being very great with nothing to eat, Jesus called his disciples to him and said to them, I have compassion on the crowd, because they have now been with me 3 days and have nothing to eat. If I send them away fasting to their own houses, they will faint on the way, for some of them have come from afar. His disciples answered, Where can one get bread to feed these men here in the wilderness? He asked them, How many loaves do you have? They said, 7. He commanded the people to sit down on the ground. Taking the 7 loaves and giving thanks, he broke them and gave them to his disciples to serve, and they served the crowd. And they had a few small fish, and blessing them, he commanded that these also be served them. So they ate and were filled, and they collected 7 baskets of the broken pieces that were left. There were about 4,000 who had eaten, and he sent them away. He immediately entered a boat with his disciples and came to the region of Dalmanutha. Pharisees came up and began to debate with him, seeking from him a sign from heaven to test him. He sighed deeply in his spirit and said, Why does this generation look for a sign? Truly I say to you, no sign shall be given to this generation. Then he left them, and, entering the boat again, departed to the other side. Now the disciples had forgotten to take bread, and did not have more than 1 loaf with them in the boat. He warned them, Take heed, beware of the yeast of the Pharisees and the yeast of Herod. They reasoned among themselves, saying, It's because we have no bread. Being aware of it, Jesus said to them, Why do you reason that you have no bread? Do you still not perceive or understand? Are your hearts still hardened? Having eyes, do you not see? Having ears, do you not hear? And do you not remember? When I broke the 5 loaves for the 5,000, how many baskets full of broken pieces did you collect? They said to him, 12. And the 7 among the 4,000, how many baskets full of broken pieces did you collect? They said, 7. He said to them, Do you still not understand? He came to Bethsaida, and they brought a blind man to him and entreated him to touch him. He took the blind man by the hand and led him out of the town. When he had spit on his eyes and put his hands on him, he asked him, Do you see anything? He looked up and said, I see men as trees walking. Then again he put his hands on his eyes and made him look up, and he was restored and saw everyone clearly. He sent him home away to his house, saying, Neither go into the town, nor tell it to anyone in the town. Jesus and his disciples went out into the towns of Caesarea Philippi. On the way he asked his disciples, Who do men say that I am? They answered, John the Baptist. But some say Elijah, and others one of the prophets. He said to them, But who do you say that I am? Peter answered him, You are the Christ. He warned them that they should tell no one about him. He began to teach them that the Son of Man must suffer many things, and be rejected by the elders and the chief priests and the scribes, and be killed, and after 3 days rise again. He said this openly, and Peter took him and began to rebuke him. But when he had turned around and looked at his disciples, he rebuked Peter, saying, Get behind me, Satan, for you are not mindful of the things of God, but the things of men. When he had called the people to him with his disciples, he said to them, If any man would come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. For whoever would save his life will lose it, but whoever would lose his life for my sake and the gospel's will save it. For what does it profit a man if he gains the whole world and loses his own soul? Or what will a man give in exchange for his soul? Whoever therefore is ashamed of me and of my words in this adulterous and sinful generation, of him will the Son of Man also be ashamed when he comes in the glory of his Father with the holy angels.